What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about behavioral anxiety symptoms. So do me a huge favor and smash the like button down below if you're ready to kick anxiety in the butt. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you dealt with any of these behavioral anxiety symptoms. I know I'm going to leave some of these out because honestly, guys, I could go on and on probably for hours on this video. But I'm going to hit some of the major ones that you could be dealing with. Anxiety causes us a lot of behavior changes. So I just want to cover some of these. These are super important. So make sure that you stick around through the whole video. Guys, I'm not a doctor or therapist, and trust me, I'm not trying to replace that at all, okay? I actually encourage you, if you're dealing with any type of physical symptoms or any of these behavioral changes, to seek professional help. That's very important. So make sure that you're doing that. I'm just a guy that went through all these horrible experiences, symptoms, sensations, and I just try to share, okay? I try to spread awareness, relate with you guys, share the stories of the hard times that I went through, show you that anxiety recovery is possible because I did recover from anxiety disorders, okay? It is possible. If I did it, I know you can too. So we're gonna jump right into these. Like I just mentioned, anxiety can cause a lot of behavioral changes. Some of these are scary, some of these are hard to deal with, and they can alarm a lot of the people that are close with you. But I wanna go over these guys and share with you some of the ones, especially some of the ones that I went through. The first one, guys, is avoidance. Now this is very broad, okay? But I'll share with you some of the things that I went through. I avoided driving as much as possible because I would have panic attacks all the time. I wouldn't get on roller coasters. I didn't fly a plane. I didn't fly. I didn't do any type of heights. Things that I used to not be scared of. I used to love roller coasters. I used to never have problems with driving. I used to love long road trips. I didn't have a problem with getting on a plane. All of this changed whenever I had anxiety. It seemed to be a trigger for my panic attacks, so I started avoiding the situation. I stopped going out as much. I stopped being in huge public places like malls or supermarkets or concerts, crowded places like that, because it would make my anxiety go up. Let's see, what else did I avoid? I avoided listening to the radio, watching as much TV because I was scared I was gonna see a commercial about a smoking commercial talking about heart attacks. I was scared I was gonna hear a commercial or an ad on the radio because I did oftentimes talk about, do you know the signs of a heart attack? I would hear that all the time. I started to avoid looking at billboards, which tied into the driving. There were a lot of triggers that I avoided. I avoided certain articles. And something that was important for me during my recovery was exposure therapy. I had to expose myself to these fears to get over them. You can look at it as the first day, you take that first step on a ladder. You know, if you're afraid of heights, right? Instead of avoiding the situation, you tackle it piece by piece, little by little, and eventually you're at the top of that ladder and you feel okay. So that's something that you have to do, super important for overcoming anxiety. You can't avoid everything. You can't always run away from triggers. I try to tell people that there are certain triggers you can't run away from. Some things that you can run away are physically horrible triggers like alcohol and drugs and things like that. You can't avoid those, but there are some things in this life that you can't avoid. The next one, it kind of ties into that, is social withdrawal. Over time, I started pushing away the people that were closest to me. A girlfriend that I had for 4 years, we ended up breaking it off. And a big reason was because of my anxiety disorder and how much it actually changed me as a person. I started to push her away. I pushed a lot of my friends away that were closest to me. The only people that I hung out with were drinking buddies. And of course, I was numb at that point. I was drinking all the time, so I didn't need to really put any effort into that. I started to push away family, and a lot of this was because I didn't feel like people understood me anymore, and I felt ashamed, embarrassed. I had quite a few episodes in front of people that, rubbed them the wrong way. It made me feel embarrassed, probably more than I should have. So I started to push these people away, show them more neglect, and I stayed at home a lot more. I stopped driving, I stopped traveling, I stopped going to events, and this became a real problem until I actually developed social anxiety. You don't have to have social anxiety to have just social withdrawal. That's just like a kind of lesser form of it, but keep an eye on that. You don't want to fall into that. You need to seek help, seek the people that you love, try to explain to somebody what you're going through. The next one, guys, is binge eating, and I'll tie weight gain into that. Binge eating was a huge problem for me. It was a comfort thing. I would often go to the fridge in the middle of the night and I would start slamming deli meat down my mouth, cheeses, and it was always the worst kind of foods. A lot of carbohydrates, a lot of fats, a lot of sugars. I would drink a ton of sodas. It was horrible. And on top of that, I was drinking alcohol every single day. So it wasn't a problem for me at all to consume 4,000 to 7,000 calories any given day. Now, a lot of this will actually make you start to gain weight. I didn't have an issue with weight gain, thank goodness. My metabolism was so freaking awesome at the time that I just, for some reason, I didn't experience a lot of weight gain. If anything, I gained maybe 3 to 5 pounds. But the binge eating is not healthy. It's not healthy for you, and a lot of you will gain weight if you are doing that. The next one, guys, is eating less. Anxiety can also make your appetite disappear, and most people actually deal with weight loss instead of weight gain. So weight loss can be another problem. So eating less, not having as much of an appetite, feeling more nauseous. Whenever you're extremely worried about things, you're just not in the mood to eat. And that was something that I would deal with every once in a while in extreme circumstances, but for the most part, I was a binge eater, and that was a comfort thing for me. The next one, guys, is substance abuse. So we can throw alcohol in there. That was my issue, but drugs, of course. Tobacco, we can throw that in there as well. You can abuse so many different things, caffeine even. Basically, this is going to turn into a vicious cycle. For me, whenever it came to alcohol, I would start drinking in the evening so I could maybe get some sleep and make my anxiety symptoms go away. The next day I would wake up with a horrible anxiety hangover, which is just anxiety and an actual physical alcohol hangover, and it would be horrible. I would have terrible anxiety symptoms, tons of panic attacks, and then in the afternoon I would have to start drinking again just to feel normal. So it developed into this horrible vicious cycle, horrible habit. Do not self-medicate, please. I beg you not to do it. You may think that in the moment you're feeling okay, and there's some truth to that, but it only makes things worse down the road, and you'll never fully get over your anxiety disorder if you continue to do that. So that goes for drug use, caffeine, and even tobacco. A lot of these things make anxiety much, much worse. The next one, guys, is going to be job hopping, not having any type of job security, whether that be because you don't like to travel to your job. That was one of my issues. I had panic attacks on the way to work, so that would really affect me holding down a job. I also had substance abuse problems, so I would drink all night and then I wouldn't wake up the next day or have the motivation to go to a job. I would have panic attacks at work. Really had an amazing job as a general manager at a sporting goods store, and I had a couple panic attacks at work. I was really good at my job, but anxiety was just crushing me and taking over, and I had to leave work a couple times and go to the ER in that small town to get checked out because I thought I was having heart attacks, and eventually I just couldn't do the drive anymore. It was a 45-minute to an hour commute every single day. I just couldn't take it anymore. I felt like it was just bringing me further and further down. Of course, running from that situation didn't help me at all. I still had anxiety for a longer period than that, but I could not hold down a job. I had so many jobs. There were a bunch of small ones too, like fast food, gas stations, things like that, waiting tables. But I lost some good ones as well. The next one, guys, is self-harm. A lot of you might be turning to self-harm, whether that's actual suicide or if that's like cutting and things like that. If you're going through any of that, or I'm going to throw in suicidal thoughts as well. A lot of you just may not feel like this life is worth living anymore. Please, I recommend that you see some videos that I did probably about a week ago. One of them is the anxiety tip that changed my life. Make sure that you check that one out. It's about gratitude and showing thankfulness for the things that you do have. And then there's one called How Lucky You Are, or You Are Very Lucky. I forgot the exact title. I'll put those at the end of this video so you can check them out. You need to look at those videos. It'll really change the way you think about life. And if you're going through that, please seek a professional help. You need to do that. You need to really seek out some help from somebody, whether that be family or, but I prefer you go after somebody that's a professional. Check out the suicide hotline. Doing those things and taking your life, it may seem like a short-term maybe solution to your problem, but in the long run, it's gonna hurt so many people around you. But guys, all of my tips for anxiety are down below. Also, if you haven't tried therapy, be sure to try that out. There's a link down below in the description. You just got to click the little arrow down there. You can choose from thousands of therapists, or if you are dealing with addictions, drug, alcohol counselors. You can do it on the phone like this, or your laptop, or your PC, whatever you want to use. So you can do it like that instead of having to go to another psychologist or somewhere out of town or go to another office. You can do it from the comfort of your home. So that's something that you can do. It's also cheaper than in-person therapy. I know a lot of you are worried about your financial situation, especially if you were doing the job hopping like I was. This is a very cheap way of getting your therapy done. So if you've been dealing with anxiety or dealing with any of these issues, please try that out. It's something I didn't take advantage of for various reasons, but please don't be like me and try that out. It could change your life. There's other resources, books, workbooks, journals. It's all down below, so check that out. If you want to support this channel, my Patreon account is down there. My social media, my Snapchat, my Twitter, my Instagram, it's down there as well. The Facebook group hit 30,000 members today of like-minded people going through anxiety disorders. So if you haven't checked out that group, please be a part of that community today. Excuse me, getting tongue-tied, getting kind of weird. But yeah, like this video if you guys have value. I hope it helps some of you guys out. There are a lot of ways that anxiety can change our behaviors, and hopefully I've covered that good for you. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know some others that I didn't mention. Like I said, I could spend an hour or two on this video alone covering all the different behavioral changes you can undergo. But yeah, subscribe if you haven't. Hit that notification bell so you can get updates when I put these videos out, and I will talk to you guys later. Until next time, love y'all, be strong, keep fighting.